Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and welcome to the Business Roundup, where we catch up with the movers and shakers in the business world. Today, joining me is Erica Carrico. She is an award-winning soul business success coach and an author. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, I think, well, number one, just being in business, whether you're a man or a woman, it's difficult, and sometimes we don't get into the careers that we had thought we were going to be in. Sometimes we end up changing careers midlife and stuff like that. So I think this will be of interest to people wherever they are in their career journey.
Yeah,
So
I think so too. I think so many of us, well, they actually say the average person nowadays changes careers 7 times, which never used to be the thing, right? Our parents, I mean, both my parents anyway, they spent like 35 years at the same position in the same career, but now it's just not that way anymore. I think people are really wanting something different, right? I don't think people love slaving their life away to companies that just don't feel aligned. I think people want purpose and they want passion and they want meaning and they want to actually wake up and love their life. And I think it's just a lot more acceptable to not tolerate a situation anymore, you know?
that is true, very true. And I know before we kind of dive into the more of the background in the book, can you just start off by telling a little bit about your background and how you got interested in this field and coming up with this strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I always wanted to do something different with my life. I was always that person who was playing tug of war with, really following my heart and being this free spirit versus the responsible side of me. And that part of me that really fell into societal expectations, like you need a real job and you need the benefits and you need the paycheck and all the things. And so I think for the first probably 10 years of my after college years, I was really trying to find a balance. So I was traveling quite a lot overseas, but I was also trying to stay connected in a career. So I thought, if I can't really figure out what I want to do, I'm going to help other people figure out what they want to do. So I ended up in corporate recruitment, which was a great career for me. I spent almost a decade in corporate recruitment, and ended up moving to Sydney, Australia, and lived down there and worked for Robert Walters. And so had that whole experience. But I think there was this moment for me, which so many of my clients feel, where I was just putting my feet on the ground every single day. And it was like just this dread of, my life didn't have any meaning and I didn't feel like I had a purpose. And I was earning millions of dollars for a company that had millions of dollars. And it was like, what is the point? I'm slaving away from 7:30 in the morning until 6:30 at night for this company that just doesn't even care at the end of the day. So I really had this experience where I fell into a depression and anxiety. And long story short, I actually saw a life coach at that time, and I quit my job. This was way back in 2009. So I quit my job. I ended up backpacking around the world for a year, and knew that I'd never go back to corporate, right? So I ended up getting a master's degree in nonprofit management, and became the executive director of a couple of different not-for-profit organizations, which was great because I felt like I was making a difference. But 5 years later, it was the same thing. I was building someone else's dream. I was following someone else's schedule. Someone was telling me where I had to be, when I had to be there, when I could take vacation, when I wouldn't. And I just felt like I had more in me. Like I was meant for so much more than the life I was living. And that's actually when I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. And that was when everything changed for me. So
Wow, and that's a big change too. And then now, okay, so when was that and like kind of what has transpired since then?
yeah, so that was in 2016, and my marriage was falling apart. I was working full time as the executive director. I had a toddler at home. I was nursing a baby, and I really had this feeling like my body created this for a reason. And I ended up not going the traditional chemo and radiation route. I really took more of a holistic healing path. And I knew if my body created this, there was a reason why. And that unless I figured out the root cause, it was going to recreate it. Right. So I looked at how I was living, and it was like my body was literally killing itself. And I think it was because there was just that I was holding in, right? I was just repressing so much and I was so resentful and I was not in love with my life and I felt like I was doing everything I should be doing instead of everything I wanted to be doing. And so that was really a pivotal moment for me. I signed up for a life coaching certification. I started my business as a more of a career coach at the time since I had so much recruitment experience, but that really slowly shifted into more life purpose coaching and spiritual coaching. And I had a lot of media attention. I won a lot of awards, and New York Times reached out, and Forbes reached out, and now, however many years, 10 years later, we have a multi-million-dollar company that has helped over 100,000 people all around the world to discover their life purpose, to leave their career, and to build a business that is really in alignment with their purpose and also helps them to live the lifestyle they want to live.
That's amazing. I mean, and it's crazy because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like you were saying, it is like your body kind of forces you to slow down. Like even when I got sick or something, I'm like, I can't, I have to do stuff. But it when it tells you it's no, I'm done. It's you have to listen to it. And that I do believe in that too, that you can treat it with, the chemo and different types of things, but it's like there's a root problem that's there. So that's and so did that kind of start you kind of wanting to look into like how this would affect, or be beneficial for other people and not just in their career, but in their regular, like their everyday life?
Yeah, well, that was part of my so as my coaching evolved, so I started my own business and I that really took off. So within a year, I was full time in my business, right? And I had a wait list of 6 months. I think I had like 25 private coaching clients at a time with the wait list. So what I was really doing was helping people to it's almost like really remembering who you are, right? So peeling away the layers of who are you because society told you you had to be this, or what have you put in place in your life because society's expectations have told you that's what needs to happen. So really starting to figure out what are those things in people's lives? How can we start to peel those away? How can you really remember who you are underneath all of those layers and really start to live a life more in alignment, right? So it really became about letting go of a lot of things that just felt really out of place and then bringing things in that felt more like you. So it's real life transformation, I think, mind, body, and soul.
And so your background in psychology and business management kind of came together. And the book, now we'll talk a little bit about the book. This is kind of like a little bit of that strategy kind of outlined. Is that what kind of, can you take us through the book and what that kind of goes through?
Yeah, the book is my whole process. So what happened was I just obviously was getting burnt out coaching that amount of people. And so it became a group coaching program and then it became an online course and now it's the book. So the book has the whole process in it and it's really soul meets strategy. So the first half of the book is like getting clear on what needs to be healed, right? Are there relationships that need to either be released or be reconciled? What needs to happen in your career or your job? What is there trauma underneath that needs to be healed? What really is, how are you trying to numb the emotions? So it's really a kind of a healing experience, I think, in the beginning. Are you overeating? Are you over drinking? Are you over shopping, over exercising? What is it, right? For me, I was overeating and over drinking. And I think it's like getting really clear on who are you at a soul level? Why are you here? What are your divine gifts? What is the medicine that you're here to share with the world? And then the second half of the book is almost, it's like my career coaching. So we really do some research on potential businesses that you can start or potential careers that you can move into that are just more aligned with you and where you feel like you can really be living your purpose. And also making sure that they're supporting you, from an income and a lifestyle perspective as well.
Right, and that's true too, because some people have different needs in regards to just everything, and it depends on where you are in life. I know people would tell me, when I was younger, it's like, "You could start a business, yeah, but when you start getting older, are you crazy? You wanna try to take that venture on when you're getting older and,
Yep.
you need to start preparing for retirement and stuff." I'm like so I guess it depends on where you're at in life too.
Well, I had that experience. So this is actually in the book as well. So when I was ready to leave my corporate job when I went traveling after I saw that life coach, I actually had a feeling that I wanted to become a life coach, right? Or do some kind of coaching, a career coach or whatever. But everybody told me, like, I was engaged at the time. So my husband and his family and my family were like, well, you're getting ready to get married and you're getting ready to start a family. You can't start your own business, especially not a coaching business. You're never going to earn any money doing that. And so I listened to them. So what I did was, quote unquote, the safe route. I actually took out a $60,000 loan to get my master's degree, to take an executive director at a not for profit position, which was paying me $29,000 a year. And to me, that was what everybody considered the safe route, which is absolutely mind blowing because I took out so much debt. I lost $80,000 a year in salary. Whereas, if I would have started my own business, I would have been 5 years ahead. And I mean, like I said, now I have a multi-million-dollar company, but it's just crazy what we think is the safe route. In actuality, it's really not.
Yeah, I know. I was right along there because I had the same type of thing. I had gotten my bachelor's and it was in news, broadcast journalism and mass communications. And when you start off as a reporter out on the street and you're in a small town, it's like 28,000, 20, it was like back then, it was not much money. So same type of thing, big debt,
Not at all.
very small paycheck.
Yep.
So,
Yep, exactly. And that's how we're conditioned. Those are, it's just that's normal according to society. But I just really don't believe from a soul perspective that's why we came here. And I think so many of us are waking up and realizing that. And we're just really wanting to tap into our purpose.
I know, I agree. That's something that definitely I would love to read more about the book. I was kind of trying to go through it. Now the book is called Awake Your Purpose: 28 Days to Discover Your Life's Purpose, Identity, and Your Dream Business. And so, what are some of the steps that this kind of outlines? It's 28 days. And so, do they go through different things each day? Is that how it kind of lays out, or?
Yeah, basically, like, you kinda go through. I mean, it takes everybody a little bit of a different amount of time, right? I've had some people fly through it in just a couple of weeks. I've had people, take 28 days, and if you're super busy, and you've got kids and you're working full time, it might take you a few weeks longer, but yeah, it really takes you through getting clear on what your gifts are, why are you here from a soul perspective, so it's very, like, spiritual driven, and then, of course, it helps you figure out what business you want to start. So I've never had anybody go through the process and not get crystal clear at the end on what business they're going to start. And then, of course, people come to me to help them build their business once they've got that clarity.
So that's good. So you still kind of take this is kind of just kind of a initial type of them doing their research and their background work, and then kind of they want to take it to the next step, then they can call you. Now, do you
Yep.
still work with people individually?
Yeah, I do still take private coaching clients. Yep. The private coaching clients. So I have a group program. It's called Soul Business Accelerator. That's where you
Okay.
come in. We get your business up and running. We get it started. We get you to right around the $10,000 a month mark. And then my private coaching clients are usually trying to scale to the $1 million a year mark.
Okay. And if people want now for that, if people want more well, the book, where would they find that? Is that on Amazon? It's on a website as
Yep.
well? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, the book's on yeah, you can find it. It's on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, iBooks, everywhere. And then my website is just ericacarrico.com, and that has my programs and coaching packages, and the book is on there and the podcast as well.
Oh, perfect. So you do have a podcast. And is that like something that you do interviews or talk about different types of topics on a like weekly or monthly basis?
Yeah, it's called Mess to Millions. So
Okay.
basically, right now, I'm still unpacking a lot of my own story and my own teachings. I think we're only on like episode maybe 14 or 15, I think, has been released now. Eventually, I will start pulling other people on. But right now, yeah, I feel like I have so much to teach and share. So that's the platform that I'm getting it all out onto.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we'll definitely connect to that, but that's amazing. And
Thanks.
yeah, I appreciate you joining us today. And I want to definitely take a look. I want to get the book because I think anybody could benefit from it. But I think just to get more clarity in your life and just because I think a lot of
Yeah.
people, you feel a little stuck. Sometimes it's just so much going on. It's hard to get the noise out and really focus on, what you're trying to understand about yourself.
Yeah, and so many of us in midlife, it's almost like it kind of feels like a midlife crisis, you know? I mean, I'm 45, and so most of my friends were at this crossroads where it's like, what worked for us before, it doesn't feel like it's working anymore. And I think how we really lived the first half of our life isn't necessarily how we want to live the second half of our life. And I think it's not necessarily a crisis, it's more of an awakening, right? Like yeah, just what is in your life because you feel it should be, or it kind of got there by accident and now it's just stuck, versus how can you be really intentional and actually create the life that you want by design. So we have the power to do that. And it's just something that I really love doing, is helping people just remember that they really can create the life that they want. They have the power to do so. They're not necessarily a victim, you know?
Right, and something that you get reward out of too, of just helping people, which is amazing. I mean, I think that's another thing too. People kind of underestimate giving back, and sometimes how you get a lot more from it than you think you will. You know what I mean? So just taking that time sometimes to help other people. So,
Yeah, for sure.
well, I really appreciate you joining us today, and hopefully I can have you on again down the road and talk to you a little bit more about the podcast and different things that are happening.
Sure. I love that. Yeah, anytime. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Same here. Just hold on there. Thank you for joining the Business Roundup, where we always try to bring you interviews with some of the leading people in business, whether it be technology, finance, or energy. I hope you tune in. I hope you subscribe and listen, and we'll give you updates for new interviews that are coming up. Until next time, I'm Melissa Bell.